Hey everyone, I'm Cathy, one of four presenters who will guide you through today's lesson on question formation. We will be learning about yes/no questions, also known as polar questions, in both Jamaican Creole and Trinidadian English Creole. Our goals for today are to understand the term Creole languages, introduce question formation in standard English, and learn about yes/no questions in Jamaican Creole and Trinidadian English Creole. Have fun!
Hi, I'm Cathy. Creole languages developed from pidgins, which were common languages that formed through the intermixing of groups who did not speak the same language. In the Caribbean, most Creoles developed in the European colonies. So, these Creoles developed through contact between speakers of African languages and speakers of French, Spanish, English, and Dutch. Creoles are complex languages which reflect our region's culture. Many persons in the Caribbean speak Creoles as their first language.
Hi, I'm Starfina Bailey, and I will be providing a brief overview of what is question formation. Question formation refers to the transformation of a declarative sentence into an interrogative sentence with the purpose of obtaining information. Now, there are several types of questions, but today we will be focusing on yes/no questions. Yes/no questions, simply put, requires a yes or a no answer. Yes/no questions can also be affirmative or negative. Affirmative yes/no question looks for information that is unknown to the speaker, while negative yes/no question confirms something that the speaker believes to be true or correct. In standard English, affirmative yes/no questions are formed through the inversion of the auxiliary and the subject. The auxiliary is usually a helping verb such as do, have, be. It is important to note that a modal verb, such as could or would, can also be placed here. So in interrogative sentences, the structure is auxiliary or modal verb followed by the subject followed by the main verb, as seen in our example, do you like mango? The speaker uses a rising intonation to indicate that a question is being asked, or in the written form, a question mark is usually placed at the end of the sentence. For negative yes/no questions, the contracted form of the auxiliary or the modal verb plus the negative particle not usually begins the sentence. This is followed by the subject, then the main verb, as seen in the example, don't you like mango? Once again, a rising intonation is used by speakers to indicate that a question is being asked, while in the written form, a question mark is required at the end of the sentence.
Hi class, I'm Anna Kay. In Jamaican Creole, speakers rely on intonation to indicate that a question has been asked. There is no inversion of the auxiliary and the subject, so the structure of the question is subject followed by the main verb. In written form, a question mark is required at the end of the sentence. Additionally, the initial question particle a is sometimes placed at the beginning of the sentence to form the affirmative question. In this case, the structure of the question is initial question particle, then subject, then main verb. For negative yes and no questions, the particle e and do is placed at the end of the question. So the structure is subject, then main verb, followed by the negative particle. Rising intonation indicates that a question has been asked, and in written form, a question mark is required at the end of the sentence.
In Trinidadian English Creole, speakers rely on intonation only to let others know that a question has been asked. There is no subject-verb inversion as in Standard English. Instead, the same declarative sentence is used to ask the question. In written form, a question mark is placed at the end of the sentence. For negative yes/no questions, the question begins with the negative particle "ent", followed by the subject, followed by the main verb. Rising intonation indicates a question has been asked, and in written form, a question mark is required at the end of the sentence.
Let's review what we've learned so far. I hope you are paying attention. What is another name for yes/no questions? Which language uses subject auxiliary inversion to form yes/no questions? Does Jamaican Creole use subject auxiliary inversion to form yes-no questions? Does Trinidadian English Creole use subject auxiliary inversion to form yes-no questions? What is the negative particle in Jamaican Creole? What is the negative particle in Trinidadian English Creole? Don't worry if you didn't get all correct. We'll have some time to practice a little bit more coming right up. First, we'll see the standard English conversation. Then we'll hear two speakers of Jamaican Creole, followed by two speakers of Trinidadian English Creole. Listen out for the features and any similarities or differences. This is a conversation in standard English. Two students, Dylan and Mary, discuss their English homework before class. Now we'll listen to the conversation in Jamaican Creole.
Mary, you do the homework?
Yeah, me do it.
Can't see it.
No, you're going to take everything word for word.
We are no friend, eh?
Yeah, that me can't give you. You better start it up now.
Okay, here is the same conversation in Trinidadian English Creole.
Hey Mary, you do the homework?
Yeah, do it.
I could copy it, sir.
Nah, you can copy everything word for word.
And please, friend?
Yeah, that's why I can't get it. Best you do it now. All right, class. Did you enjoy those conversations as much as we did? We sure hope so. Now, before moving on, let's take a side-by-side look of the three conversations. The interrogative yes-no questions in each language are in bold. Pay close attention to the subject and the verb in order to determine the structure that is used to form the yes-no questions in Standard English, Jamaican Creole, and Trinidadian English Creole.
Here are a few points we'd like you to take note of. Both Creoles rely heavily on intonation only to indicate that a question has been asked. This means that there is no inversion of the subject and the auxiliary as in Standard English. Jamaican Creole also sometimes uses the initial question particle "a" to form affirmative yes-no questions. While this is not a noted feature in Trinidadian Creole, the languages are still similar. For negative yes-no questions, both Creole languages make use of a negative particle. In Jamaican Creole, this is "en" or "do," while in Trinidadian Creole, it is "en." One point of difference between the languages is that the negative particle appears only at the end of the sentence in Jamaican Creole, while in Trinidadian Creole, it can be placed at either the beginning or the end of the sentence. This table shows the differences in the question forms in the three languages. English uses subject auxiliary inversion with "did you do," "could I copy," and "aren't we," while in the two Creoles, no such inversion takes place. We also see the negative particle at the end of the sentence in Jamaican Creole compared with the beginning of the sentence in Trinidadian Creole.
Let's review what we did today. Creole languages are unique creative languages which arose from the intermixing of persons who spoke different languages. One main difference between yes-no questions in Standard English and Creoles like Jamaican Creole and Trinidadian English Creole is that Standard English uses subject auxiliary inversion while the Creoles do not. While Jamaican Creole and Trinidadian English Creole share similar features, there are also key differences in question formation.
Well, class, that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed learning about our languages right here in the Caribbean. See you next time. Bye.